Hey guys, this is Brianna. Today is day 75 of the challenge, and today I actually got a phone call from a gentleman who's an investor. Originally he wanted to invest in notes, and he wanted to connect with me because he thought it would be a good idea for his son to invest with me and do these fix and flip projects that me and my partner are working on. So we ended up meeting last week and we had a great conversation. He taught me a little bit about 401ks and IRAs and stuff like that. So I'll be working on that soon. But anyway, let's see. So he said that he wanted to go about doing things differently rather than focusing on notes. He has experience within the mobile home industry. He said that he's been doing it for 40 years. And something he wants to do is start doing fix and flips, essentially, and basically create a partnership with me where I bring in the money, find investors to buy properties or mobile homes specifically, and he would supply the money for the rehab costs. So, I asked him some questions, especially when it comes to value, because obviously in a partnership, it has to be mutually beneficial, and value's got to be important, and that's because it's the only way to a relationship's gonna work. And in that sense, it's got to be an equal partnership. And so he didn't, when I asked him about that, he didn't know the answer because this was just a thought, and he just wanted to see if I would be interested in it before he kind of dove deep into figuring out all the details. And so I was like, yeah, of course I'm interested. Um, and so maybe probably sometime next week, maybe we'll get together, so that way we can sit down and discuss how we could make this work, if it'll work at all, for us to partner together and see what that looks like and make sure that we're on the same page, assuming that we were to move forward with that. But, it's funny because when I listen to a lot of high achievers, people who are very successful, a lot of them talk about how it's important to say no. A lot of them actually say no 99% of the time. And so I always have that at the back of my head, I'm wondering now because I'm wondering if it depends on the situation. So, me, when it comes to fun things, hanging out with friends, going out, stuff like that, 99% of the time, my answer to that stuff is no, just because I feel like there's better use for my time. But when it comes to opportunities, I always say yes. And I feel like that works for me. I don't know if that's the right thing to do, but when it comes to opportunities, my thing is like you never know what can come from any opportunity. And I don't want to say no and then eventually end up regretting it. So, for example, actually, that's how I got into doing my radio show. So, I do a radio show every Sunday from 2 to 3 o'clock. And the reason why that came about is because my radio producer, it was just some gentleman that I was introduced to at the time. He asked me, "Hey, would you be interested in doing a radio show?" I'm like, it threw me off because it was so unexpected. But I was like, "Yeah, sure." And I said that not thinking anything would come of it, or that it would really happen. I just said yes, but in the back of my head, I'm like, I have no experience doing a radio show. What am I going to talk about? I'm a life insurance agent. But and like I said, I didn't think anything was going to come of it. Long story short, he kept asking me questions about it. What would I talk about? What would the name of the show be? And it was all questions I had no idea. I didn't know. And so it took a lot of work on my end to kind of sit back, think about it, and figure out what I wanted um, with the show. And it actually happened. And it's something that I'm very grateful for. I get to learn about a lot of people, a lot of businesses, and people's backgrounds and stuff. So I get to learn a lot about people, and it's actually a lot of fun. So, but yeah, and there's even people with that I've met because of the show that I am going to be working with at some point in time. And so it's like, without those connections, I would have never had that opportunity. And so when opportunities come, I always I feel like it's important, at least for me at this point in time, to say yes and figure out all the details later. So, like even yesterday, if you watched my video yesterday, I mentioned how my friend asked me to be a speaker at his event on the 23rd, and I'm just thinking, dude, I don't know what I'm gonna talk about. What do you want me to talk about? Like, I don't. A part of me feels like I have nothing to bring to the table. But he's going to start off with an interview for this first one, and then going forward, it'll be a speaking thing, assuming that we do end up pursuing this further and turning it into what his idea of this event will be. And so, it's all about, because one thing that I've learned is connections are really important. And I have no idea what could happen of this. Maybe nothing might happen. Maybe, worst case scenario, it just doesn't work out. I don't know. But who knows who I will meet from it. I have a lot of respect for this gentleman, so I'd be crazy not to partner with him. We're going to do business together regardless, but, to go on this journey with him where he is at some point possibly traveling the world, that would be fantastic. I would love to be part of that. And who knows? I don't know what's going to come of it. I don't know the future, but I'm excited to see what actually transpires from it. But again, this goes back to why I think that it's important for me to say yes to opportunities. And maybe that'll change in the future. But at this point in time, the answer is always going to be yes to opportunities. And then I'll figure all the rest of the stuff later. I totally feel like I've rambled in this video, so I apologize. But it's just kind of what was on my mind today. Because I feel like I've been presented with a lot of opportunities lately. And I'm just like, okay, well, Brianna, don't get yourself too overwhelmed. And then also it's like, it's stuff that I've never done before. So, whenever doing something new, it can be a little bit uncomfortable, but do it anyway. Only good can come from it. Worst case scenario, it just doesn't work out. At least that's the way I've seen it. And maybe there's something I'm missing, but I don't know. Anyway, I've rambled enough. So this is the end of today's video, guys. Thank you for listening. This is my journey to business and entrepreneurship. I will see you guys tomorrow.